Welcome back to the session. I'm Kushi, your prep school English teacher, presenting to you the lesson titled The Tiger King from your textbook Vistas Chapter 2. I hope you have seen my introduction session. I did discuss the way I will be teaching you all the lessons in detail. In case you have not seen the introduction class, then I suggest that you watch that first and then sit for this class. The link for the same is in the description below. So to understand what is the story of the Tiger King all about, let's begin with the author. Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurthy, better known by his pen name Kalki, was a man of many talents. This Tamil writer was an independent activist. He was a journalist and also a script writer to movies. But children, you need not have to buy out all this. Just remember to quote his name while you write the long answers wherever required and need be. So to make your story more interesting and more mysterious, he added some supernatural elements. So in this Tiger King, he takes us to those days where the kings were under the thumb rule of the Britishers and they would fear them. Also, the kings were so very stubborn and adamant that they would want to do whatever they wanted to do only. With this, let's see what is the theme of the lesson Tiger King. The name itself says Tiger King means something to do with the tiger and the king. Kalki uses satire, irony and humor to point out the foolishness of those who are in power. When I say satire, humor and irony, these are the genres of literature. Probably when I am summarizing the story for you in my further slides, it will be more evident with examples. For now, you understand satire means something to criticize the stupidity of a person. And irony could be something which you expect but the opposite will happen. And humor is something that is humorous. With this, let's move on to the next slide. Before I proceed, I want to inform you, while you are reading your lessons in the textbook, you may come across few unfamiliar words and it is important that you know the meaning of it. Yes, in the present technology, if you just press a button, you will get to know the meaning, isn't it? But that cannot happen always. So how do you understand a meaning of an unfamiliar word? Keeping that in mind, the way the context of the word appears, that is the way you need to understand. For example, look at the screen. Everything which is written in white is the context and all of those which is written in color are your unfamiliar word, a kind of unfamiliar. Of course, few of you all are familiar with such words, but I will consider them here as unfamiliar. So how do you get to know the meaning of such words is what I am going to tell you right now. Now, a proclamation was issued. Was issued is what? It cannot be a human was issued. It cannot be an elephant was issued. It cannot be a chair was issued, isn't it? It should be something, an announcement was issued or a declaration was issued. So here I can read it as a declaration was issued. So proclamation means declaration. Next, if you see, let's take rolling its eyes in bafflement. Now, what does bafflement mean? Now, rolling its eyes. When will you roll your eyes? When something comes all of a sudden? When you see something very weird or it's an absurd situation, isn't it? So, bafflement means something in surprise. More than that, something in confusion. So, here, rolling its eyes in bafflement means confusion. Okay, now let's look at stood as if in humble supplication. What does supplication mean? Humble means somewhere you are very polite, somewhere you are in a begging mode, isn't it? So supplication means stood as if in humble. It is a kind of a appeal. What does supplication mean here? It is a kind of an appeal. Now, if you go into, it had wantonly hid itself. Wantonly means deliberately. So it had deliberately hid itself. For example, shuddering at sight. Now, at sight means you are seeing something, isn't it? Now, if you come across a tiger, a wild tiger, when you're all alone, you're going to shiver, or you're going to shake yourself, isn't it? Rather than you'll go and hug the tiger, you'll never do that. So that is exactly what is shuddering means shake or shiver. Next, fury and obstinacy mounted. Here, fury and obstinacy is stubborn, a stubborn king. Okay, the result could be catastrophic. So here, catastrophic means something very disastrous. So children, this way you need to understand. It's important that you understand the context and then get to know the meaning of that unfamiliar word. Of course, you need not have to use all these words while you're writing your answers. You may write your answers in the simplest language that will be better for you to score. But while you do your literature, it's very important that you will not skip or slip in understanding a word. Even though I will be summarizing the lesson for you, it's very important for you to read the lesson from the textbook. While doing so, pay attention to these content. This becomes simpler for you to recollect and remember the story. For example, if I say the birth of the Tiger King, the first paragraph in the lesson will tell you everything about the birth of the Tiger King, why was he called a Tiger King, how did he grow up, how did his childhood look like. Next, what was the challenge to the astrologer, followed by why did the king start hunting tigers. What is the danger that he faced in his kingdom? How did he safeguard it? Or what is the reason behind his marriage? How did the Diwan help him get the 100 tiger? Was he successful in the 100 tiger? Did he kill the 100 tiger? What is the reason behind his death? So this way, I have partitioned so that it will become simpler for you. Every story has got few characters. Let's look at the characters of this lesson. You see here the astrologer, he was someone who predicted the death of the king. He said the king will be killed by a tiger. Why did he say this? That's because the king was born at the hour of the bull, and since the bull and the tiger do not get along well, he said that the tiger is going to kill the king. Now, did it happen? Yes. Was the king challenging? Yes. How do you say so? The king killed the first tiger, called the astrologer and told him, look, I have killed a tiger. Now, my life is going to be safe. What did the astrologer reply? Your Majesty, it is not by killing one tiger that your life is going to be safe. You need to kill 99 more tigers. Only then you can say that you are safe. By this, what do we understand? We understand that the astrologer carries a lot of self-confidence. I hope I have made it clear about the astrologer. The next character is the king himself. He is the protagonist of the story. The whole story revolves around his life from birth to death. Though he was smart, his foolishness eventually led to his death. What was he called before he was called the Tiger King? It's very important for you to know. He was the Maharaja of Pratibhanandapuram. He was born in Pratibhanandapuram. What was his name? He was Sir Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur. Remember these two? Sir Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur was the name of the Tiger King, and he was born in Pratibhanandapuram. Moving to the next character, the most intelligent character in this lesson is the Diwan. He works smart to please his king, on the other side to keep his people and kingdom safe and happy. He carries a sense of humor which is so evident in multiple occasions in the lesson. For example, when you're reading the lesson, when there is a discussion of the king's marriage, you will get to see how humorous the Diwan was. The last character in the lesson is the craftsperson. Smart yet cunning. Why do I tell he is cunning? Because he tried to sell his toy tiger to the king with an exorbitant price. Why did he do it? To please the king. He acted smartly. This is a typical characteristic of a business person. I hope you got me right. By this, I have introduced you to 4 characters: a divan, an astrologer, a king, and a craftsperson. Moving further, let me show you the visual summary of the lesson. I will be off screen for some time. This will help you view the pictures clearly. Let's look at the visual summary. The Maharaja, Sir Jilani Jung Bahadur, was called the Tiger King. He was born in Pratibhanandapuram. When he was just 10 days old, he heard the court astrologer predicting his death without reasoning out. It was this time that a miracle happened. Being an infant, he asked intelligent questions to the astrologer and was told that he would be killed by a tiger. He uttered, "Let tigers beware." The child grew like any other royal child, drinking white cow's milk. He was taught by an English tutor and looked after by an English nanny. He watched English films. When he was 20, he was crowned as king. It was then the prediction of his death by the tiger reached the Maharaja's ear, and he in turn, to safeguard himself, killed a tiger, and being thrilled, he told the astrologer, who replied that he can kill 99 tigers but should be careful with the 100th. He pledged that all other affairs of the state would be attended after killing the 100 tigers. Then he started killing tigers. None except Maharaja was allowed to hunt tigers. A high-ranking British officer visited the state that was fond of hunting tigers, and his wish was declined. The officer requested for getting a photograph with a tiger killed by Maharaja, and this request was rejected. So, to please the officer's wife, the Maharaja sent 50 diamond rings, expecting that she would take 1 or 2. Instead, she kept all the rings costing 3 lakh rupees and sent thanks to the Maharaja. But his state was secured. In 10 years, he killed 70 tigers and didn't find any in Pratibhanandapuram. So, he decided to marry a girl from royal state, which had more tigers, to complete his target. Whenever he visited his in-laws, he killed 5 to 6 tigers. So, he killed 99 tigers and was feverishly anxious to kill the 100th, but couldn't find. News about the presence of a tiger near a village proved disappointing. He asked his divan to find the tiger, otherwise face his anger. Now, the divan was afraid of losing his job, so he visited People's Park in Madras and brought an old tiger and placed it in the forest and informed the Maharaja. The Maharaja took great care and shot the tiger and left the place with triumph. The bullet did not hit the tiger, but out of fear, the tiger had collapsed. Now, the staff killed the tiger and brought it in grand procession. It was the 3rd birthday of Maharaja's son, and he wanted to buy a present from the toy shop. He bought a wooden tiger which was poorly carved. While the Maharaja was playing with the prince, a tiny silver of the wooden tiger pierced his right hand, which later on caused his death. Thus, the 100th tiger takes the final revenge upon the Tiger King. The haughty king, who had disapproved the prophecy made by the astrologer, came to reality, and the 100th tiger took his life. Now, since you have seen the visual representation of the story The Tiger King, I'm sure you agree with the author Kalki, who has made this as a satire, irony and humor. Now children, going forward, you will get to know what are the questions expected from this lesson for you to perform in your examination. Let's look at how are you tested based on the story. You have to answer the questions. Your answering could be short answer or it could be long answer. When you look at short answer, the word limit is 30 to 40. It has to be in a single paragraph, but it has to be precise, accurate and considerate. When you look at the long answer, your word limit is 120 to 150, but it can be in multiple paragraphs. You give an introduction and you give a conclusion also. And also remember, you can bring in the author's name here. So you elaborate the answer, think beyond the textbook, comprehend well and you answer. By saying this, to repeat, this is in your section C part in your question paper, wherein you will be answering the questions that is asked. Let's quickly look at few examples for your short answer questions. How did the tiger acquire the name Tiger King? Why was the astrologer so surprised? What were the vested interests of the Britishers? What was the response of the king to the Britishers? Why did the king ban hunting in his kingdom? What plans did he do for hunting of tigers? What was the gloom after shooting 70 tigers? Why did he plan to get married? What was it about the land tax? What was that he asked with the divan? How did he kill the 100th tiger? What was the celebration after he killed the 100th tiger? And how did the king die? These are few of the short answer questions. Let's look at few of the examples for your long answer questions. Character sketch of the king becomes very, very important, followed by justifying the title, the theme and the summary. Children, via Google, you get hundreds of questions pertaining to this lesson. I have answered few of them. It is attached in the link in the description below. Kindly make time and go through it. Any queries, anywhere you find any difficulty, please get back to me. To conclude today's class, even though I did not discuss the cruelty towards the tigers in the story since it wasn't the theme, dear children, the happening in the world today constantly point to the ill doing of the humans. Let me remind you, it's greedy to think that this world belongs to the humans only. That's all for now. See you in my next session, notice writing. Until then, all smiles to you. Bye-bye.